Hello, and welcome to Southport Congregational Church's Mission Partner Interviews with representatives from each of our charities we support here in the greater Bridgeport community. Today, we are here with Michael Kwan, the Executive Director of the Burroughs Center. Hi, Michael.
Hi, Laura. How are you?
I'm great, thanks. It's great to see you and have you here with us. So I am just wondering if you could share with our viewers a little bit of the history of the Burroughs Center.
I'd love to. So the Burroughs Center was actually born out of an idea that people in the community were very concerned about the disparities between people who had opportunities and those who did not. And so when the piece of property came up, they got together and said, we want to build a center for the community, but didn't really have a great definition of what they meant. They just knew that they wanted to fill all of these social service gaps and social justice issues needed to be addressed. And this was back in '96, so this was over 23-ish years ago. So as a result, the business model for Burroughs fundamentally was born out of a asset-based community development model. And what that means is, and how we kind of value our work, is that we don't believe in trying to replicate assets and resources that already exist in our community. But what we do is we believe in supporting them, stabilizing them, and connecting them with the people that need to be connected with. So as an example, we partner first and foremost with organizations, and many of them are the ones that you already partner with. So if we're really interested in making sure that we have mentoring programs, we'll work with the Boys and Girls Club or the Big Brothers Big Sisters. We'll have after school programs, but we didn't want a Burroughs flavor of it. There was already too many service providers competing for the same resources. And so one of the values that we have is we will not cannibalize resources. We will look for them that exist so that all the programs and services are much more sustainable, and we can offer a broader variety of services and partner with numerous organizations so we don't become branded under one particular type of service. So we currently now have about 4 different organizations that reside in our building. They use our office space and shared resources. And our job and service for them is to try to reduce their operating costs, because for every dollar that we raise, we then help those organizations deliver their mission. And that would include the the Connecticut Institute for Refugees and Immigrants, RISAP, which deals with a lot of social justice issues, violence, substance abuse. We obviously have Big Brothers Big Sisters upstairs as well. So we work with a lot of different organizations, the Connecticut Students for a Dream, so on and so forth. So we also then partner with organizations that don't have a footprint in our facility. So we are greatly concerned about employment and food, housing. So we partner with organizations throughout the community to bring them here to connect with each other and with individuals who need the services directly so that they have a place to connect, right? There are just so many spaces in the library that you can go to have meetings and plan and organize. So we very much are partnering with folks to say, let's help connect your services, your resources to those who need it. And then of course, there are a few programs that we do offer directly where there are gaps or where there's just not enough service. We have an English language program. There are never enough programs across the community to overcome the barrier of language, and the impacts that it has on families is enormous. It's just not an issue of work. It's about communicating with the schools and helping your kids as students getting through the system. So there's numerous opportunities for closing that gap. And so we have our own English language program. So we also have our own program that we work with refugee women to try to make sure that they have a sustainable skill set that they can market, but also really to bring together sort of the social aspect that's so important in building a community with themselves and with others in the community. So we have volunteers. We have actually more volunteers than we have women who really wrap themselves around making sure they understand the needs of these women and their families. So, you know, we have a lot going on.
Yeah.
So in a given year, we'll have about 30-ish thousand people who will walk through our doors, and they'll walk through our doors. And what we look at it as, we're trying to create opportunities for them to learn, to be informed. That's one of our most important things. We want to make sure people understand the issues. If we're interested in hunger and we think that that's a disparity, we need to understand it from multiple perspectives. And so we try to help other people understand it from multiple perspectives, because it's not just give people food, obviously. It's just understanding the system around it.
Right. And those, I mean, those are amazing programs. And such a smart way to organize. So not to replicate and redo services that are already out there. Now, one time that I was at the Burroughs Center, I believe I saw a dance class going on, and I believe a birthday party too. So you must have this element of the community, local community, being able to borrow the building to do fun things like that.
Yeah. So if you think about what a community really needs in terms of opportunity, there one thing that obviously is important is they need space. And so that's one of the biggest things that we're able to provide. A lot of organizations are wanting to help and be part of the community, but also need a little help in connecting. So you will often see programs and activities where they'll try to demonstrate whether or not they can make that connection, and if there are enough people in the community that care about those issues. And so if it's dance, it could be, trying to bring, we have yoga for folks who you would not typically think would want that program. And there are people who come to us every day who say, hey, you know what? I think there's an opportunity here. Can we give it a try? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but everyone needs a shot.
Absolutely, that's terrific. This sounds like a big job here. So, what is your funding like?
We are very fortunate that we have a pretty diversified way that we have been able to stay alive for 24 years. But the most important thing for us at this point is that we don't receive any public funding. Everything that we receive is through private donations. Um, Part of it is, if we believe that our model is real and sustainable, we don't think that receiving a disproportionate amount of government money or public funding would help that. So if we rely on it, then we are concerned that we may lose our way a little bit and won't stay true to really what we're doing. So we're also able to make every dollar go further, which is helpful too. With our budget, we're able to connect so many people and do so many things, and our hours were only closed at about a dozen days out of the year. So it's a very effective model, and it works very well. Not to say that we don't need support and funding, because individual support really is critical. And to be honest, with what you guys have been able to do, because the relationship, you guys have started supporting us almost from day one, it makes a huge difference, because the funders that we care about most aren't necessarily the ones that give the most. It's the ones that understand the most. And so the relationship is as, if not more important than the actual funding itself. And the reason, quite honestly, is our services and things that we do change from year to year, because priorities and concerns and opportunities change. And we need to be able to pivot and move with those changes. And we need to have our funders understand why we're making those changes, and what becomes important each year and what may become less important.
It's a great model. I think it's a great model, and we love supporting the Burroughs Center and everything that you do. It's so different, and it's so diverse, and it's so helpful on the ground to people in the area, right? So if somebody who's watching this is interested in helping the Burroughs Center, what are the opportunities for them?
We have volunteer opportunities depending on what it is that you like or do, or your talent or your time. We have volunteer opportunities certainly through tax season. We have a number of tax preparers who volunteer to help with low-income folks and elderly folks to prepare their taxes, which is vitally important to many, many folks. We have volunteer opportunities to help with the refugee women, and it could be anything from helping to cut fabric and helping at sales events. It could be helping with logistics around that. We have volunteers who we'd love to have help with our English language services. It's always helpful to have more instruction in a room than not. And so breaking out into small groups to help read, that's infinitely valuable to us. We have a community garden, so if people like to work outdoors and help us with that, we are always fighting back the weeds and would love help with that, as anyone with a yard would understand. But also financial donations, those contributions, I think that the thing that we appreciate is the amount of trust that we have with a lot of our funders, that they understand that we invest their dollars and we don't just pay for programming. We may change from day or year to year what we do, but it's always something that we look at carefully to make sure that it's something that is going to be either sustainable or really hit the target where it needs to. And know that we're not married to one particular service, one particular organization. And so everything goes a pretty long way. And that's the great thing about what we do.
You're the great American melting pot. That's terrific. Well, thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing the story of the Burroughs Center. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Laura, and thank you everyone as part of your congregation in all your years of support.
It's our pleasure. Thanks for joining us for the Southport Congregational Church Mission Partner interview with Michael Kwan. To find out more about Burroughs Community Center and its commitment to the Bridgeport community and its people, follow the link below. And to find out more about Southport Congregational Church, our missions and programs, and to join us live for worship on Sunday mornings, please click our link below. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel. Thank you.